yeah, so what we're going to be doing with these chats is basically talking with some big actors in the Hyperliquid ecosystem, working on building interesting things that we've identified. And Hyperland is one of the first ones that we found early on. We thought was a pretty interesting protocol that is going to be coming to the Hyper EVM early on. Got in touch with Ness. We obviously included the Hyperland hat in our collection because we think that there's going to be a part of the ecosystem that is here to stay, most likely. And also they have a cool design aesthetic. So yeah, Ness is the founder of Hyperland. Hyperland is well, I'll let you introduce what Hyperland is first off, Ness. Welcome.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate it, and thank you for having me, man. I really enjoyed the NFTs, and thank you for also including Hyperland in like one of the trades as well. That was a very good touch. And like I would say that like the easiest way to explain Hyperland to like everybody in like a more general way is by saying like that we're gonna be the Aave of Hyperliquid and the Morpho of Hyperliquid. And basically how we do that is that by like having the multi-collateral pools such as Aave has, and then the isolated pools is what basically allows us to be those like big two money markets that are already in DeFi, and we kind of join them all together into one big project on Hyper EVM. And also because like we have the isolated pools, I would also like to say that like I haven't really been mentioning a lot, but we're also having like different vault curators and stuff like that. So I'm like very excited for that. And for now, like I would say that we have probably been the project that has been like publicly building the longest, that has been like dedicatedly focusing on the Hyper EVM. And I don't know, like I think that was like for the past 7 months, I would say. Like time goes very fast, like when you're actually enjoying all of those stuff, and like Hyperliquid community is like one of the best you could work in. So I'm very, very happy to be in this space, honestly.
Yeah, so for the people who don't know, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but we're going to try to kind of cover all the bases here. Like Aave and Morpho, like Aave is basically kind of like digital banking. You can lend and borrow against cryptocurrencies. Lenders like deposit crypto, like ETH, USDC, whatever it might be, Hype, whatever it would be, and you can earn interest right on the deposits, and then borrow against it. And then Morpho is built on top of Aave. I'm not super into Morpho, but I do know that they have the Morpho vaults, and they basically it's like a optimization of Aave, or how would you describe it? Ness, you there?
Hi, sorry, yeah. Yeah, I guess a quick introduction on my end.
What's up, Nuts?
Got really excited. What's up? Got really excited about the Hyperliquid ecosystem. I think first got introduced back in end 2023 by Crypto Nexus. I'm not sure if you guys know him. He's like a news trader. We literally just met for a pint, and he was telling me about it. So that's where I kind of got started, because back then I was doing ventures and liquid funds for crypto. So pub trading was definitely something like up the alley there. I think towards summer / maybe around September last year, got even deeper into the ecosystem, playing out with like some of the more premature dApps like Hyperfund, trying out testnets on Hyperswap, Hyperlend, Felix as well. I guess that's how I kind of got really into the ecosystem, kind of meet all the builders on Hyperliquid, and pretty much just a Hyperliquid enjoyer, really.
Yeah, awesome. What do you think? What appeals to you so much about Hyperliquid, like in a 30-60 second snippet?
I think for previously, given my background, never really been someone to believe in something. You know what they say, right? You got to finally believe in something and start trading it. But always have been a trader, but perps trader. Probably the first time ever I've decided to actually stake and lock up assets, which kind of says a lot. The ecosystem generally, I think, I wouldn't say has removed all bad actors, but from all the builders I've met, all very, very committed to the ecosystem, all really like have the urge and the drive to want to see the ecosystem succeed. And I think it's a very unique model, moving away from the rejection of VC funding. You've got a protocol which is kind of doing the opposite. Instead of selling the tokens, they're literally buying it back up to literally just kind of be locked away within the assistance fund. So I think for the first time, it was pretty much just finally believing in something that I think could really bring crypto to the next level.
Yeah, same for me. Yeah, I do want to just do a little bit more primer on Hyperlend, because we do have Ness here. So Ness, we were talking about Aave and Morpho, just to kind of get the gist there. What are you guys doing with Morpho and the vaults on Hyperlend? Oh, Ness, it's a little hard to hear you. I think you might have to fix your microphone. A little bit better now.
So basically, what we do have, we're not like equal users that are on Orpha themselves also have at Hyperland. And basically, they were like manageable kind of deposits, so people will be able to call our platform and like trust the different like curators, stuff like that. And basically, they're gonna manage all the positions, basically trying to find how like a strategy where the best yield will be available, kind of.
I'm not sure if anyone else has the same issue, but I can't really hear Ness.
Yeah, it's a little bit quiet. We might have to redo your mic, Ness. Somebody's search space can act up, dude. I have it all the time. Like you guys have seen with me, dude. So somebody's like it switches my mic on me. I'm thinking I'm talking, it's not working. But yeah, no, Ness is a really smart guy. I've talked to him myself, so I want to make sure you guys hear what he says. You know what I mean? Okay, he's just requesting now.
Wouldn't fade Hyperlend, to be very honest. So
no, absolutely. There's a reason why we wanted to talk with them first. So, hey Ness, yeah, you sound much better. I think.
Is it better? Okay.
Yeah, much better.
Well, I'm very sorry for that happening, man. I don't know. My laptop just decided to bug out. Yeah. So basically, okay, let me restart. Basically, what I was saying is that like we're not going to be directly working with Morpho, but we're going to have the same structure because like we do realize the kind of potential it has and kind of the capabilities we can offer to users with like different vault curators and like how they will do like different on-chain strategies. But like the different part that we do kind of is like that we don't make it permissionless. We just kind of curate the list ourselves and list out like or like enable quality curators only, I would say, because then it doesn't like kind of dilute the whole vault aspect that we have.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's kind of part of the it kind of reminds me of Hyperliquid itself, where a lot of people were the one FUD point was like decentralization, right? But it's like you to start something properly that you really care about. Sometimes you do need like centralization and like, for example, in the validators, like selecting who you know are good actors to take care of something that you really care about. Like in your case, protocol that you care about, and users that you care about. You want to make sure that it's good for them.
Yeah, like
and maybe over time you open up, but who knows, right?
Yeah. But like I think that all of those comments that were coming about like on Hyperliquid and stuff like that, I think that like people don't actually like they forgot how far we actually came with like Hyperliquid and like how much they already achieved. Like they were managing like so many billions in volume and like so many users are on Hyperliquid, and like they have like one of the best like community oriented people, I would say. And like as you yourself said, like you never staked any coins before, but now or like Nuts said that like he didn't stake any coins before, but now he actually did. And funny thing is that it's the same thing for me. Like I've been in crypto for
it's like, the same for me too.
Yeah, like I've been here for like almost 5 years. I like experienced everything there is to experience, like went through many projects like and stuff like that. But yeah, like Hyperliquid is the one that I like actually staked my tokens and delegated it to someone.
Yeah, so we already talked about Aave and Morpho and kind of taking that model and tweaking it a bit for Hyperliquid and doing it your own way. Obviously, Aave like itself is a massive. It's like 20 billion in TBL. I think like 5 billion market cap. Like huge player. Also, you can already see the potential. You combine that with Hyperliquid, high TPS, and all the money that's going to be on there. Especially if you guys are the big one that's doing this. But there's another thing that we talked about when we were on our call, which was I think it's like a new feature that you're starting to work on, which is the opening a position on the perp stacks through Hyperlend's front end, and then being able to collateralize your open position. So if we could talk about that a little bit, what you think is cool there.
Yeah, for sure. Like how we thought of it is basically that like we just become like more capital efficient. Because like I do a lot of people that like open big positions on Binance or like Hyperliquid and stuff like that. And like, for example, if you open a position up like for 1 million and then you have it like open for 3 to 4 months or like even longer, there isn't like anything you can do with that money afterwards. It's just kind of sitting there and waiting. And basically how we look at it is that like we allow much more with that. And like it, on the whole structure side, it will basically that you like deposit into our vault on Hyperland, then it transfers to the L1, it opens the position, and it kind of manages everything by itself. And then you kind of get like your own tokens back, but it's in any way the same as a per position, and just like a token share of your own vault. And basically you can use that as collateral on our platform. And for example, like, I don't know, I don't know how much I can state because like we haven't really finalized it on it yet. But like, for example, you'll deposit the token share as collateral and then borrow more USDC, and use that USDC, I don't know, to deposit in the HLP vault. So basically your per position itself will be, getting you yield on top of it. So I think it will open up many like, strategies as well. So it's going to be very interesting.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of situations where you could open up a position and be holding it for a long time in crypto, especially the last few years. If you had gotten a nice Bitcoin entry or a nice entry on a meme coin that's gone stratospheric, and you're just like, listen, I don't want to hold it because I think it is going to go higher, but how do I have this money without closing it, right? So you can't do it retroactively. You have to open it with you guys, but there's going to be more opportunities in crypto. I think it's super interesting. You're able to actually to me, it's like a 0 to 1 moment if you're able to execute on it, because it's like you have this huge amount of money that's there, but like you have to close it if you want to actually have it, so if you're able to collateralize even just a bit of it, it's like I have a position where I'm up like $200,000 on a Bitcoin long, but I don't want to close it because I think Bitcoin's going to 200K, but maybe I can collateralize 20,000 of it, and now I at least have some of that money. But yeah, I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, I think that like one very interesting point of it is looking at that you can get like yield on your perp positions. As I said, like you can then deposit it into the HLP vault, and like the perp position will earn you money and yield on top of it. So basically double profit kind of.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. There's all kinds of stuff you can do once you have access to the money and you do stuff with it. But yeah, we got Chainbrain here. Chainbrain is one of our I don't want to say smarter holders to this, but he's one of our more crypto on it holders, and I thought maybe it'd be good. You and Nuts, you guys might have some questions for Ness about Hyperlend, then maybe we can have a more free flowing discussion about crypto and what's been going on lately.
Yeah, I was actually. You guys hear me well?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just curious how the whole depositing into the vault and distributing like the token part of that is that all handled on the contract side, or is that kind of like a botting thing that you guys handle?
Everything will be managed through the contract, and the vault will be a ERC 4626 type standard. And like also like if you want to learn more about it, like we do have specific documentation on it in our webpage.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But basically it will open, like everything will be managed on the contract, and like the risk and the parameters will also managed by a risk management team, and everything will be audited thoroughly. But at the end of the day, it's like up to the user how much leverage they want to use and stuff like that.
And so this is just like something that's possible just because of the kind of unique mechanics of the AVM interacting with the L1, right?
Yeah. Like we haven't really seen this done anywhere else, but mostly because it wasn't possible before because of the Hyperliquid tech stack.
Right, because you needed to have like an LP.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. Yeah, I'll check that out. Documentation. Thanks.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
Yeah, Nuts, you have any questions about Hyperlend? Maybe you already know about it.
Not really for Ness. But I think on this kind of borrow lending money market CDP / kind of this whole kind of sector in Hyperliquid. I think if you look at like Aave's TVL over like ETH TVL, it's about 18 billion over 65. So you're looking at about 0.27 kind of ratio. I wouldn't be surprised on Hyperliquid if we see like the money market borrowing lending side to go up to like 0.4, 0.5, because I think, well, generally from most of the people I talk to who are like staking almost like 80 to 100% of this hype, they're just like waiting for the L1 to be live, and then basically be able to borrow against their staked hype to go and farm yield or do additional stuff, and essentially just creates this insane looping mechanism and frees up a ton of capital. Yeah, so much fucking higher, to be honest.
I think that like once the Hyper EVM actually drops on mainnet and like the looping part is available, like Hype will just grow exponentially, because like you said, you have like so many dedicated people to Hyperliquid already, and people just like want to get a bigger position because like they realize the potential in it basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with you. And like for the staked hype and the hype being available as collateral, that is something that we'll be able to provide very soon once the mainnet actually drops.
How do you feel about the risk of liquidation cascade, though?
Everything will be managed through our risk management team. As I said, we'll be announcing that next week. And we are working privately with a lot of LPers to have like substantial liquidity available within the first week. And then on the liquidation side, it can be also managed for the precompiles to the L1 order book. So that makes it a lot easier to handle as well. But yeah, like I think that on the liquidation side, it mostly matters over like multi-collateral pool parameters and the on-chain liquidity as well.
Right, but I mean, like, just like having the ability to do the looping itself. Like if there's some sort of like fast acting event, there's no time to do the unlooping. So that's kind of like when the liquidation cascade thing kind of takes off. In that sort of scenario, one of the things that I really liked about Hyperliquid, like safety wise, was that they only allowed up to like 3x leverage for Hype itself. So I was just wondering, do you guys have like certain kind of parameters predefined to kind of mitigate that risk as much as possible? Because if it happens, it's going to be like bad.
Yeah, we do realize that, but like as I said, like the on-chain liquidity for Hype is substantial already. And like everything will be thoroughly managed for a risk management team, and I'm very confident in them because like they do manage like a multi-billion-dollar company already. So yeah, like we'll be very much prepared for the liquidation cascade. Or I would just like to say that like we hopefully it won't happen because our parameters were just set right.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of trying to separate the being like ready to actually perform the necessary liquidations is one thing, but like having your parameters set in a way that that scenario entirely is like minimized. In the same sense that like how Hype only allowed 3x leverage, like you'd, for example, your loans value on Hype could only be like say 10% or 20%, something like super safe instead of like the 70 or 80% that you normally see.
Yeah, like we will have the parameters set in place that no such things will be like, as you said, like it will be very minimal.
Cool, great to hear.
I think the point he's trying to make is that abstinence is basically better than abortion.
Could you repeat that?
Sorry.
I think the point you're trying to make is that abstinence is better than abortion.
Yeah,
something similar.
Yeah. In the same sense that like you just don't want to get to the point where like obviously the liquidations are necessary. Like that's the only way a DeFi kind of protocol can function. But if once you have like too many loops going on, they're very difficult to unravel fast enough when things happen. So that'll, it just like has a snowball effect and just keeps going. So it's
there's obviously risk. There's obviously risk. You have to be. I mean, that's there is.
But I just meant
risk management is a huge part of it. Yeah.
I'm not talking about risk to like the user, but risk to like the chain and the ecosystem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially if it becomes as big as it could be. Like that's why I thought Hyperlend was one of the people we want to have on here first, because they're going to be a critical part of the infra of this entire operation if they're able to execute on what they are. But yeah. I'm sure you guys are extremely focused on risk management, and not being part of taking down all Hyperlend is too big of a
for sure. But like as I said, like the risk management team will be announced next week, and I think that a lot of people will be surprised on who we have. But yeah, like it's still up to the user, I would say, and like our parameters are always set very much in very strict, I would say. But yeah, like the liquidation side can be handled through the L1 order book, and that has like multi-millions and hype as like multi-million dollars in liquidity on the L1.
Are you guys planning to manage things kind of like Aave does with their kind of like sort of like a DAO method where somebody puts up a proposal for like changing the collateral ratios for certain pairs and things like that, or is it just the risk management team that you're talking about?
I would like to say these things like once we have the TG, but there will be governance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just actually prefer it to be like a risk management team, at least initially. You know,
Yeah.
DAOs, especially when they first start off, like you want it to be people who know what they're doing, and then like slowly as it matures.
Yeah, but like until we have the TG, it's not gonna be once we are live on mainnet. Like we do have a go-to-market strategy plan, and then of course like we have 2 pools. So yeah, like we do realize the kind of struggles that Aave has, and with the DAO and stuff like that, and kind of all the politics that are going around. So I agree with you most definitely on that side, but we do have pools and stuff like that, so it's a lot more positive than.
Cool. Yeah, I just have quite a bit of experience with running DAOs, and I know how much of an effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got another like 25, 30 minutes left here. Why don't we talk about general crypto stuff? Maybe Hyperliquid. Obviously, Hype Coin is pumping. We got our floor pumping quite a bit too. I think is part of this eco pump. What do you guys? I think this could be fun. Why don't we do price targets for a couple coins here? Not financial advice or anything. You just have to kind of say where you think they can go. And why don't we do Hype and Bitcoin for everybody? We just start with Ness and then everybody go through what's up here.
Like for Hype, it's very hard to tell because it will all like also matter on how much traction the EVM gets. But I'm very confident on that, and like with the TVL that they will get within the first month. I don't know. Like my moon targets kind of would be if Hype goes to, I don't know, like 200 or something like that. But those are just like moon numbers, I would say. It's like very hard to predict the kind of price where it could go.
Yeah, sorry for the sniffling, guys. I'm walking my dog. It's like 10 degrees outside.
Just mute your mic when you're not talking. Then.
Yeah, I was trying to. I just wanted to respond to the. It's funny that you say 200 is your kind of your kind of max. That's my base.
Oh, I forgot 800.
Holy shit. That's his base.
I mean, yeah. I feel personally that like, for example, the fact that already Hyperliquid is overtaking like Binance in revenue. It's done it several times, and that's just going to keep, happening more and more. The innovation you were talking about with the order book, being able to use the order book, that's like a completely new thing in crypto. I don't think that's priced in at all. Just basically like there's just so much that Hyperliquid can do. That's like a completely like we mentioned before, like a 0 to 1 type of like innovation that it's in my opinion not even like 1% priced in. Like it's being completely ignored or not ignored, but just not accounted for, basically. So I think that like comparing it to if you look at the cycles, like the last 3 cycles, how they've gone, you've always had this kind of one token that was the new big thing that had a kind of a new innovation that ended up just performing like absurdly well. 8 years ago we had ETH, then we had Solana, and in my opinion, this cycle is Hyperliquid. I think it's pretty hard to argue against. And if that's the case, then from this point, in last cycle for Sol, it did a 54x. So if we get anywhere like, 200 is it's less than 10x from here. So I feel like for me, if it doesn't hit 200, I'll be very surprised. But I feel like it has entirely the potential to, if not flip Sol, we get really close to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was looking at 2021 cycle. We'll do nuts in a sec. What I was looking at as a comparable, and I think Hyperliquid compares quite favorably to it, is what Cardano was doing last cycle. With Cardano, like if people remember, Cardano really killed it price action wise and getting up. I think they were top 3 at one point. I think Hyperliquid has a chance to sort of be that spot where it's like that new thing that everybody gets really excited about, except that there's a lot here, and Cardano, not to fade Cardano so much, but I think there's a lot more interest in here than there was with Cardano last cycle. And I think there's just so much more they can get turbo powered. And look at 22 billion million days. This Trump stuff that we just had, it's so much more obvious. But yeah, let's hear what your take is on both hype and on Bitcoin price targets.
Well, Bitcoin, I don't really know, frankly, but for hype, I would like to think I'm bullish, but not as bullish as Chamber. I think base case for me this cycle was something about 100 to 150, just for various reasons. So I think firstly, the difference between Hyperliquid and most other pre-existing, I would say, other perp access/access for perps is that generally you already have a huge bunch of market makers on the platform, market making, which does have a shit ton of volume, and sure the order books are like, I guess, pretty filled. Whereas if you look at, so something that I saw recently was like Shoku had put up a proposal on Athena back in, I believe, was it May last year or was it September? Can't remember. Basically trying to get Athena to use Hyperliquid as a hedging venue, but because of I think the bridging contract wasn't transparent, the risk providers, I think by Llama Risk, if I'm not wrong, blocked the proposal from going through. So I think once you get the L1 and everything gets a little bit more, I would say, in that sense, open sourced, it invites a whole bunch of new actors and sophisticated actors to come into the ecosystem, which honestly is just great for hype holders because eventually the system fund buys it up and we can't get locked away in the assistance fund. So I think the way in onboarding users is, I think right now we had smart money. Now we're getting a bit more of slightly retail, but I don't think we've reached that full retail mania yet. And I do think, honestly, that the sophisticated actors either come in with the retail or they come in last. And that's when you really see like large amounts of volume and you see a lot more activity just from the order book alone. Regarding the L1 side and the DeFi ecosystem, I would say it's a little bit unique because I think the specific user in Hyperliquid, I would like to think has like a higher average IQ than that of somebody who goes onto any other chain, and definitely Solana, for example. And you've got a very unique group of people who I think will be extremely loyal to the ecosystem. And most of these guys are generally pub traders who obviously want to use their hype and extra and all their stacks to basically borrow against, just kind of stay within this Hyperliquid walled garden. Whereas if like you've got people who go to Parachain, I'm pretty sure there's the same people who go from Parachain to Monad and the same people who go to Mega ETH. Whereas I just think that the community within Hyperliquid will stay fairly cemented within the ecosystem. And so if we do see, people moving TVL out of like current chains into new, more hype chains, I think Hyperliquid's so-called drawdown wouldn't be as much. But yeah.
Just think about all the things that we're talking about now, and like just the amount of possibilities, the amount of already existing functionality, the amount of achievements Hyperliquid has had, the possibilities that are like very like close to becoming reality. And like just I like to like compare that to this stage of like Solana, right? At this point in Solana's life cycle, it was like a barely functioning, completely almost unusable chain, that just like didn't really do much. And look at how like well it did. Hyperliquid in comparison is just on so many levels better than anything else that has come out. as like the new thing in a cycle before. So that's like all these things put together is really the reason why I'm so like my targets are pretty high.
Hang on, let me say some of my targets, or let me add some of my things where I'm bullish. I'm telling you, I agree with you with some of the ideas of early Solana type of stuff, and my God, it is there. You have a product that actually makes money. You have community that wants to hold. They're diamond handing without even being forced to. You have just fees getting collected for buybacks. You have amazing art and stuff that's just here, and people are excited about it. People wake up and they're just talking about, oh my God, I'm just seeing Hypio on the freaking timeline. Hypio is pushing Hyperliquid. Everybody's pushing Hyperliquid. Everybody wants Hyperliquid. It is the early Solana. It's got all the same vibes. I'm so goddamn bullish on it. And have you seen the market cap? That thing's only at 25 billion market cap. I am so goddamn bullish on this thing. And Bitcoin, like, it's gonna go where it's gonna go later this year, but it's at the end of January. We're about to turn up bullish. And then tax rebates, tax refunds are coming for everybody. Even more goddamn bullish. That's how bullish I am.
That's a Hypio right there, dude. That's the bullish, not afraid to spit for the bullish looking bags, dude. Yeah, facts on like, dude, we got the crypto president pumping Bitcoin. Like, if this is a normal cycle, we didn't have Trump and whatever, maybe things start winding down here. Now we literally got this guy putting gasoline on the fire. We got Hyperliquid just finally getting going with a full-on EVM chain. Think about these other chains. Like, we don't have to talk shit about Monad. We don't talk shit about Mega ETH, whatever. Like, I'm sure
they gotta get Trump to trade on Hyperliquid.
Yeah, we obviously have to get Trump trading on Hyperliquid, but that's another thing. The spot majors are going to be trading. And that's like your protocol might be able to interact with spot like Bitcoin wrapped through Hyperliquid HBTC. You know what I mean? Like the amount of shit that's going on here, and like we're literally just pouring gasoline on this flame that is already like a top 15, top 20 coin by FTV alone, top 30 by market cap, one of the most profitable crypto companies that like actually makes money. You know what I mean? It's like Pump Fund and Hyperliquid and like Solana like stakers right now, basically. You know what I mean? Like, and then a couple other things, but like there's not much else. This is really just getting started. We're probably going to see one of the craziest. Frankly, it's like a crime cycle in a lot of ways with like a lot of the bullshit that's going on. And Hyperliquid's going to be, you're going to be able to play that on Hyperliquid too. You could play Trump the best. Solana was not functioning, and you were able to leverage trade or just trade 1x on Trump and Melania and all this shit on Hyperliquid. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like what an insane opportunity. And I'm sure Ness feels it as somebody who's building something here where it's just like, you got to feel it through your veins. Like, look at Hypio, like our floor is 0.5 ETH. Obviously, we're doing a good job, but it's Hyperliquid too. You know what I mean? Like Hyperliquid's pumping and we're pumping. You know what I mean? Like it's all just this huge, this blessing that we get to be engaged with something actually interesting and profitable and real in crypto that actually has some value and it deserves to exist, unlike so much other coins that are even in the top 50 of coins. Not to shit on anybody's bags, but that's the reality.
Yeah, like I would like to say that like one thing that I think that Hyperliquid did very well is like limit the spot asset listings and that people have to actually buy them. Like, of course, like half a year ago, they were like very, very cheap. And like they were just like random meme coins and people were like buying the tickers for random stuff. But like we can see like every time there's an auction, like a more and more legitimate company or like a huge protocol is coming to Hyperliquid and they want to be specifically listed there. Because like everybody is saying like it's the on-chain Binance, and like imagine that you could buy like right now Binance listing for like 200K. Like I know that like a lot of big companies would do anything to buy that kind of position, but they still don't realize the kind of potential there is here. But yeah, like we're also speaking with a lot of companies that are going to be buying the Hyperliquid spot tickers and are just like waiting for their moment kind of. So we're trying to get like everybody on board. And yeah, like it's been really fun. And also the fact that like they have the HOP vault public and everybody kind of gets to eat the piece of the cake of the whole like application. I think that is like one very, very big cool thing and like very based of Jeff to do, I would say.
Yeah, I think Nuts is dropping, and then I'd love to continue the spot token discussion.
All right.
And that's
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. See you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, we're gonna go for another 20 minutes for the space. Ness, obviously, if you ever are time constrained, you got to drop, just let me know. But yeah, on the spot token discussion, the other part of it that's interesting, I think one of the most interesting things here is obviously you're talking about it as this thing on Binance. I think we're most in contrast to Solana because we're the most high TPS and probably the hot new chain of this cycle, picking up from Solana being the hotness of somewhat last cycle, but definitely the first half of this cycle, Solana was that guy. When you think about like Pump Fun and like 200,000 coins every day pumping out in like, the fees and the rake and everything. And then, Jeff explicitly talking on interviews where he's like, the scam coin problem is this real problematic that you have to solve if you're going to be running a chain or in crypto, basically. Not only is it a Binance listing type thing potentially every day once the spot majors action gets going, it's also one per day. Like Binance, maybe Binance doesn't do 365 spot coins a year, but that's it. You know what I mean? It's not just whether you're like Solve or, whatever, but it's also the meme coins. Like if you want to make a meme coin, there's only one spot a day. There's only, you know what I mean? So it's every single kind of coin that wants to get in this mix on the sort of the front end of Hyperliquid and that's that side of it. And I think that's a really interesting dynamic that we have there. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I agree. Like the quality is way better. And like, of course, like with Hyperliquid team being so like kind of dedicated and they like push out like everything in stealth. And also like one big thing is that like a lot of people don't realize that how fast the EVM network will be, because like I think that they're targeting like 100k TPS per second, which is like very very like hard to achieve, and like they're not even so publicly speaking about it yet. Like I think there's like so many more catalysts that will come, or like narratives to the like whole Hyperliquid. And then once the EVM launches and like all the ecosystem projects are live, and yeah, like a lot of new financial services will be available. So it's going to be very fun, I would say.
That's actually the first time I'm hearing that. That's like 10x any other ETH so right? With transactions per second. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I actually wanted to was curious to hear your opinion on this. I just had this as you guys are talking about the spot token, just kind of this. It should be possible, right, to on the EVM, for example, because you'll be able to release whatever you want on the EVM, like a standard EVM. For example, like create a basket of tokens as a DAO that are launched on the EVM. As that DAO, buy a ticker on Hyperliquid, and then have that ticker serve as like the index of the EVM coins. Right? That sounds doable, right?
That is doable, I think. Yeah, like yeah. Or yeah, I don't know how the L1 and the EVM connection will go exactly, because like a lot of stuff is still not clear, like published in the documentation. But that is a very cool, interesting idea, I would say.
Yeah, it's basically like on-chain index fund. Basically.
That is cool. Go build that, man.
And nobody steal my idea.
Yeah, pay the Twitter as soon as possible and like establish it.
Yeah, so I guess conversation will kind of hit a lull. Here's another question. Spot majors coming to Liquid. We're definitely gonna get Bitcoin. If you were Jeff, what would be the 3 to 5 coins that you would be prioritizing getting on the spot market as far as big coins? Or any coin, I guess.
I would say like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. I think that like a lot of new people would come from Solana because like it's basically the heat point, or like the major point, or like attention point in the space right now with degens and people trading there and stuff like that. So I think that like a lot of new people will come, and of course that will just like grow the whole TVL. And then stuff will get poured in the spot ecosystem and the HLP vault. And basically it's going to be another big runner, I would say, once that is enabled. So be prepared.
Yep. I think we got Demi coming up here, but yeah, Chain or Win, if you have ideas on what do you think would be, or if it's the same, then it's all good. But yeah, I think basically the same thing. I think maybe you want to get like, Trump, maybe trading spot, like whatever it is. I mean, it looks like Trump might be that bitch for the first half of this year. We'll see what coin it is, but some kind of meme coin, maybe that's not native. I think would be really interesting if you're able to manage that liquidity wise and everything. Doge obviously would be quite interesting.
Your question was, what would be like good priorities to have as native spot token?
Yeah, like they're gonna basically. I think I'm pretty sure how it's gonna work, and Ness maybe more. But my understanding is that basically people are gonna be depositing Bitcoin into like Hyperliquid's like exchange like DEX side, and then you're gonna have Hyperliquid BTC that you can trade, and then you can withdraw that as Bitcoin, I would assume. So, what other coins would you be prioritizing if you were Jeff to sort of enable native support trading on the Hyperliquid DEX, spot DEX?
It's a good question. Can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, that is a good question. Yeah, like as I said, like I would target the majors because like that is where like majority of the liquidity is, and also on the security side, it would be a lot tough to add Trump, I would say. But I do have some information that some like new stuff will be coming on probably next week to Hyperliquid, but probably I'm not allowed to say it, but I would just say that like pay attention to the Hyperliquid Twitter.
Max, Demi, what's good, bro? You have any questions for
What's good? No, I just wanted to ask about when EVM launches, right? Like, Solana actually had a lot of success because Phantom was a good wallet. Well, it was a good wallet till people started getting fucking owned for the system, like security protocol. It's been like leaked or whatever. Is there a wallet for Hype, like a separate wallet extension for browser, or do you guys still use MetaMask?
I use Rabby. Maybe Ness has some thoughts on this, but one thing that I do need to say is my view on what's part of why I think Hyperliquid is going to be so compelling as a product, a coin, and platform is that I do think a lot of people, I think Jeff said that himself, like a lot of people are going to be using Hyperliquid and not realize that they're using Hyperliquids underneath, or that they're using the blockchain underneath. And that's going to be part of what you're talking about is that how do you access it?
Yeah, can I answer this one too about the product of Hyperliquid? Because I've used a lot of these things, and I really believe in Hyperliquid because I remember there's a time when after FTX, there wasn't really a good place for people to go and trade, so people found Hyperliquid later. There's also a time when some countries just couldn't get some crypto, so that they would actually just VPN to Hyperliquid, and they would just buy their stuff and actually support their missions and goals to help people in their own countries just through Hyperliquid and stuff. Like Hyperliquid is just so unique in itself and the platform, and as a trading platform, I think it's just like one of those like really good right now because there's so much competition, but a lot of them are like lagging on their price movements, or sometimes just huge transaction fees, or just a lot of other things. And it's just Hyperliquid literally is just the best trader platform so far.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Demi, what were you saying about like I just use Rabby wallet. I know a lot of my friends and people use Rabby. You can use MetaMask. But I think what's going to happen is that people are going to be building ways to interact with Hyperliquid where you're not having, like, hopefully you're not having to deal with like the approval order flow as a user exchange. Sorry, as a user experience. You know, I got to go through approvals and all that stuff. And maybe it can be done under the hood and you just kind of click some buttons and it's very easy to do.
So I guess my point was, is like, if you have an ecosystem with an easy to use wallet such as Phantom, easy to onboard people. I haven't used Rabby before, but I'm assuming it's also a good wallet. And we also have to look at the numbers. Right now, I feel like Hype is very undervalued for the amount of revenue that's pouring in, especially the trading volume. They're being all-time high trading volume day by day. So that's not even priced in, because you guys weren't getting that when Hype was, what, $30 a token, weren't you?
No, I don't think so. Ness, did you?
There was a day. There was I think was it like maybe December 26th or 27th, something like that, where Hype flipped Solana in activity, or was it
There was, I think, in revenue. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like, yeah, I think that like every day they're like kind of destroying them in revenue and like every other protocol as well. But like I think that like I don't know if this week or yeah, I think that this week they almost had like 10 million in 24-hour revenue, which is actually crazy. And the most exciting part is that like they all give it back to the actual community, to the users, which is just like the most base thing that anyone could ever do. So
I don't think we do. We like, but I know that we would come like Hyperliquid glazing space, but I don't think people like really understand like what that is. You know what I mean? Like they could pocket all of this money and it would be totally fine, and the coin would still be extremely high valued. They don't pocket any of it, and because of that, the coin is extremely undervalued, like almost. You know what I mean? Like it's just insane what we have here, and that's why like we made Hypio like. I'm not trying to like shill our shit too much, but like we made Hypio. It wasn't because like, oh, we think Hyperliquid's like a good coin and like, it's a hot opportunity and it's not there. It's like because we genuinely think this is going to be the best place to be for the next 6 to 24 months as far as being early to it. And then like after that, like it's just going to be an established chain like Solana where there's going to be opportunities, obviously, and I think the coin will be a top coin. But like right now is this sweet spot where like people do not fucking realize like what this is. They just don't.
It's an amazing flywheel. I hate to use that word because generally that ends in disaster from all the any sort of like the ohm type flywheels or the rebase tokens or whatever that were in the past that quote unquote had like sustainable flywheels. This is the first time like there's an like again I'm afraid to use the word flywheel because it has in the past always ended in disaster, but like with the how constant the revenue is and just how amazingly it's designed, it's just like we've been saying, just none of this is priced in at all.
Yeah, and also like one cool, interesting like kind of data point to look at it. Like I don't know specifically how much Hyperliquid has like users right now, but it's like 10 times lower than Binance. And like with just this fact, you can see like how early it still is and like how many new people still have to discover Hyperliquid.
There's so much less friction like once it actually unlocks its potential.
Yeah, and like I think that like once the EVM drops, there will be like a surge in like so many new users because like so many applications like brought in their like own community and stuff like that. For example, the Hypio community, like many of them were not even familiar with Hyperliquid so much, like or they haven't even used it yet. But I think that like once the EVM drops and like new stuff is possible, and like Hypio does some like crazy shit on the EVM, I would guess, as well. So I think that like a lot of new users will come to Hyperliquid and it will just become like a bigger catalyst.
Yeah, and that's part of what we're doing with this space. It's like, I know for a fact some of these guys have barely messed around with Hyperliquid. If you just sat here for the last hour and you've heard us talk, you're already so much more educated than the average crypto market participant. Yeah, and if we're going to do 10 more of these spaces with people like Ness, maybe we'll do another one with Ness once the thing launches or whatever, you know what I mean? Or you're always welcome to come on whenever we're doing space. But we're going to do it with them 10 people just like Ness and just like some other smart people up here. And think about how educated and informed the Hypio community is going to be. You guys are going to be right. You guys are going to be on Hyperlend using it day one. You guys will be on whatever else, the drip trade, Hyperswap, all this shit, whatever you find compelling. And they're going to be, so it's not only are we bringing onboarding these people, but they're going to be onboarded, like ready to go with like, we're going to have like a roadmap for them. You go here, click this, go there. So yeah, no, I think everybody's going to do very well. I'm very excited. So hopefully the EVM guys, does anybody have I'm sure you can't comment, but, anybody have any idea about the EVM? Oh, actually, rather than that, I meant to say we have a big announcement with our partners, Hyperlend. Actually, I think you guys are Ness. That's what we call you, Hyperlend. I believe you guys as Hyperlend are tagged in on this vault that Hyper-B is doing. This is basically a TVL vault. It's similar to the Boyko thing that Berachain is doing, where before the EVM chain launches, people are able to put in TVL in the form of ETH, stables, wrapped Bitcoin, a few other different coins, Athena, USDC, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And basically, you're going to be incentivized by the protocols. And then I guess that TVL is basically going to go into those protocols once the EVM launches, is kind of the idea.
Yeah. It is like that, and you'll get like the incentives from the projects that are kind of like stated in the website as well. And yeah.
And so Hyperlend is one of those, right?
Yeah. If you deposit to the vault and then go to the EVM mainnet as well and be like our kind of like TVL contributor, I would say, or like LP contributor, you will get something in return. Like I can't say anything by numbers, sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not trying to get you caught. But that is basically the idea. So guys, if you have ETH that is underperforming for a year now, or you have Bitcoin or whatever wrapped in twice, or they're stable or stables or whatever it is, and you're like, I don't want to sell it because it's gonna pump, or whatever reason that you want to hold it, but not hype or Hypios or whatever the fuck. Yeah. People listen, I'm diversified too. But I'm definitely gonna be putting my ETH into the vault, and because you're gonna get hype exposure basically by holding ETH or holding wrapped Bitcoin or holding stables. So it's like WWW, whatever it is you want to hold. Make sure you look into that. It's gonna be launching in a few days. Obviously, we've got Hypio branding all over it. Super fun working on that with them. And Hyperland and it's not just Hyperland, it's a bunch of protocols that are extremely serious and are already, we're gonna have a bunch of them on these spaces as well too. But yeah, any closing thoughts, guys? We're gonna wrap this up.
I would say that everybody should study Hyperliquid and like learn more about it, because like we're very much underexposed, I would say.
Yeah, I want to say, the Hypio, the floor is what, 0.5? That's practically free, guys. Just go ahead and get one, maybe 5. It'll do.
Yeah, guys, free. It's nothing. Yeah, no, it's. Then guys, if it's 0.5 on ETH, like, listen, don't get me started on what it could be on Hyperliquid. Once these guys don't want to buy, like, I think I'm going to put a tweet a couple days where I'm like, listen, if you want to OTC buy some Hypios from the treasury with hype, and then we get hype for our treasury, and then some people on Hyperliquid get some early, like 25 of them or something. But yeah, I mean, there's so many people who just like, why would you even want to re-expose yourself to ETH? And yeah, so there's a lot of money obviously sitting on Hyperliquid. There's going to be a lot of money once Hyper EVM launches. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
it's been a great space, informative space. Thanks for hosting, man. And my name's Jeff.
Yeah, my name's Jeff. Good. My name's Jeff from everybody, and then we'll call it.
My name is Jeff, guys. Good night.
All right.
My name's Jeff. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ness. Chainbrain, follow you, and then we can close it. Come on, Chain. You know your name's Jeff, bro.
I'll do it for him. My name's Jeff.
Okay, he's there. Yeah, I guess. All right, guys. My name is Jeff. Guys, if you're not in the space, you also have to say it too, just quietly to yourself, so that whoever you're near thinks you're insane. But yeah, a lot of fun, super fun. The guys, awesome. Having Ness on, right? Like, I know I said I would end, but like, wasn't this really good as far as having some Hyperliquid eco person come and talk their shit about all this stuff?
That was great. Great job.
Do you guys have any thoughts about, because we're going to do another one, like probably weekly or twice weekly. Was there any thoughts you guys have for me or feedback, or, tell me I did ass in the GC rather than on the voice chat, if that's your feedback. But yeah, if you have any thoughts or you have suggestions for people, let us know. We're going to be doing a bunch of spaces, not just with ourselves, but obviously I love hopping on the spaces and stuff too. So Demi does space. Demi, are you doing a space tonight, or is it TJ Snipes? I think is doing a space.
Yeah, TJ's tonight. And
it's like in like 4 hours, something 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, you're in East Coast. It's 9 p.m. PST.
Yeah. Okay, so it's in like 5.5 hours. Okay. Yeah, I will probably be on that. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys then for a bit. Much love, everybody. Thank you for coming. Super glad that this was such a good informative space, and everybody showed out, guys. That's what we need. Like, that's how we're going to be prepped for domination. So, all right. Much love. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, man.